deeper. A theological system. So Paul Tillich was all about systematic theology. A theological system is supposed to satisfy two basic needs: the statement of the truth of the Christian message and the interpretation of this truth for every new generation. I need to stop right there. So theology now, God talk, our talk about God, whether it's based off the Bible or whether you come from another genre or another religion, if you're saying something about God, two things are supposed to be happening from a systematic theological standpoint. Number one, I got to cover the truth of the Christian message. See that? Underline that. It's right there. I got to make a statement about the truth of the Christian message. Oh, we about to have fun right here. We just did in ministers class, so none of the ministers don't say now word. So what is the truth of the Christian message? Or let's go here. Who is the foundation of the Christian message? Christ. Jesus Christ. All right, Jesus Christ. Now, what is Jesus's message? The gospel, the good news. Somebody else, come on, holler it out. Y'all got it? What's Jesus' message? All these Christians in the room, y'all know Jesus' message? Good news, gospel. Okay, what else? Look, come on here. What else? What else? You could be saved. Salvation. All right? That's the truth. So I like that word love because I believe that can sum up Jesus' whole message and ministry. Anybody else agree with that? So theology, I got to make a statement about the truth of the Christian message, and that is that God's love can reach anybody. Right? God's love through Jesus Christ can reach anybody. I'm going to say it again just because it feels good. God's love through Jesus Christ, I'm going to try not to get too loud, can reach anybody. Okay? Y'all got that? Now, that's the statement of the Christian faith. So I'm about to welcome you all into my own mind and how I do things, how I preach, how I read the Bible. If the statement of the truth of Jesus Christ is the first element of theology, then Jesus becomes the lens by which I read the rest of the Bible. It's about to get good, I'm telling you. So, you know, everybody got glasses. All my glasses for wave your hand. Wave your hand. Lens. This is the lens. If I take this off, you look blurry to me. I have astigmatism. I can see Miss Ruby, Rem Holt. I can see a few people up close. Good. But even y'all look fuzzy and furry. And back in the room, I don't even know who y'all are. But when I put these lenses on, something gets clearer for me. If Jesus is the lens by which I look at the Bible, the way I look at life, now there's some things I cannot say anymore. Okay, I'm gonna wait. There's some things I can't believe anymore. There's some things I got to question now, because if Jesus is the lens by which I read the Bible, now I got to wonder why Paul says slaves obey your master. If Jesus is my lens by which I read the whole Bible, now I got to wonder why he says something like, women, be quiet in church and go ask your husband at home, when some women ain't got no husband. Why y'all so quiet? If Jesus is my lens, then I got to wonder, why did Leviticus say if your child disobeys you, take him out in front of the community and stone him to death? That's in Leviticus. But because Jesus is my lens, I got to look at the whole Bible through the lens of love. So now when somebody who is homosexual or lesbian or young and get pregnant before we think they should have gotten pregnant, I got to look at them through the lens of the love of God. So regardless of what you think you found in Leviticus or Romans or in Paul in an epistle to speak about homosexuality, the first thing you ought to say as a Christian serious about theology is, I love you. We can figure everything out. We can get down in the dirt and figure out what Romans talks about. In Romans chapter 1, we can dig in the dirt, talk about Leviticus and the law and how it's an abomination. We can get into all that. But at the end of the day, your conversation ought to start and stop with love. Because Jesus' message is the lens by which you look at everything. That's the first part of theology, but then let's keep going. The statement of the truth of the Christian message, and watch this, and the interpretation of this truth for every new generation. Come here, Paul Tillich. Thank you, sir. Don't that make sense? I'm talking about the man that wrote this. Paul Tillich. So number one, theology is making a statement of the truth of Christian message, which we want to affirm today in this setting, is the love of God through Christ. Is that fair? But then now, watch this. I got to reinterpret this truth for every new generation, which means the stuff that the old preacher used to say to grandmama's generation ain't gonna work with this generation. Preacher, what? You a heretic. You said something that we don't think is true. You said something different. Yeah, I said it differently, but I was still standing on the same truth. I just said it the way you never heard it before. I'm telling y'all, everybody watching online, hey y'all, I'm glad you watching. I was vilified a few months ago for a video saying something that didn't sound familiar. Now, the word heretic simply means one who says something different than the accepted doctrine. They called me a heretic for saying something different than the accepted doctrine. So the accepted doctrine may be Jesus is how we get to God. So if you say anything other than that, you a heretic. Heretic, Heretic. It's the worst word ever created by the Christian church. All it meant was, I don't want you using your brain. That's what it means, heretic. I mean, don't use your brain. Don't say something that everybody else didn't say now. Don't disagree with what everybody else is saying in the community. We got to all affirm. We got to all believe the same way. But theology requires us to reinterpret stuff for every new generation. Which is why when we talk to the youth at this church, while I do affirm abstinence, that ain't the only thing I'm talking about. Y'all be quiet. If you want to be quiet, be quiet. I'm going to teach you all this. No. We're going to talk about something else because I got to reinterpret that now to the new generation. Because to be honest with you, it ain't just the new generation that's having sex before married. The old generation was doing it too. They just kept it a little bit more concealed. But now this generation can't hold it because you got Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and pictures and texting and sexting, and it's a sex crazed world. So you gonna tell everybody, wait till you get married to have sex, period, because the Bible say so. I might need to interpret that for the new generation. I'm gonna still say it's safest to wait to have sex till you're married. You're gonna avoid a lot of drama and you ain't gonna have no babies, for sure. Unless you got the Mary syndrome, and I don't think God gonna do that again. I think Mary was the last one that's gonna have an immaculate conception. So now we may need to talk about safe sex. We may need to add on. Now it ain't that we running away from the truth of the gospel, but now I got to reinterpret that for the new generation. Because what's the truth of the Christian message? What's the truth of the Christian message? So since I love my young people, why did I get loud all of a sudden? Since I love my young people, I don't want them to have STIs, sexually transmitted infections, or STDs, sexually transmitted disease, because I love them and I want them to be prepared. We need to teach them what a condom is. Okay, why y'all get so quiet? Since we love them now, the love of Jesus has to show up in a way relevant for these times. Women are 13 and 14 years old knowing that they're lesbian. They in first and second grade know they ain't attracted to a man. And we're going to come up and beat them upside the head talking about the Bible say that you living in sin. Well, we might have still affirmed that it's a sin. But what we also going to do is love the hell out you. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because this new generation ain't just going to take stuff. Paul said it. Okay, and what? Who is he writing to? They're going to ask more questions. Are you feeling me? They got more questions for us, and you got to be ready to reinterpret this book for every new generation. Calvary don't mean what it used to mean. If I said Calvary in 1980 and the blood still works, Sharpe. Oh, 1980, 1990, communion? Somebody remember the old church. You don't play on no communion Sunday. Oh, communion Sunday? Oh, it was serious. You were scared to walk toward that altar. There was a high regard for communion. Matter of fact, you don't touch the communion table. Don't you lean on it. What is new generation to walk right by the table and just... And then you get offended because you come from the old church. Baby, don't touch the table. No. You better be prepared to tell them why you don't touch it. That's a sacred element in worship. So I just can't do communion. On the night that Jesus was betrayed, he took bread and broke it, and he said to his disciples, eat, this is my body. Take it, and as often as you do it, this remembers of me. Church of living God, let's eat the bread. Eat. This is the blood, the new covenant of my blood. I was drinking with you new in the kingdom of heaven. Church of living God, let us drink of the new covenant of my blood. The half the church said, what the world is he talking about? The blood of the new covenant of my, what, huh? I won't eat again with you new until I eat again with you in the kingdom of heaven. Huh? Now, some of y'all understood that. You heard all your life. You know what it means. He's saying, this is my last supper with you all. The bread represents the body. The wine represents my blood. And when we all get to heaven again together, we're going to commune at the table. There's going to be a new feast. Now, see, we get that. But now in communion, I don't know if y'all notice, every time I do communion, I break that thing down. I say something else. I say before we finish communion, we're going to represent Christ. And what else we going to do? Represent Christ. Because what you're saying is when you put those elements in your body, you are a representative of the body of Christ. I can't just get up and talk about the blood and how they used to kill bulls and ox and pigeons and turtle doves and kill them and get the blood. And the blood used to satisfy the sins in the Old Testament. We don't get that. Some of us don't get, the new generation may not get that. So I gotta change the lingo up a little bit for the new generation. Are you feeling me? The other day, I cut myself washing dishes on Valentine's Day, trying to do something nice for Bree. Blood came out my hand because I was trying to show her love. Well, I ain't the first person that blood came out of their hand trying to show love. Do you see how that connected to you? I get it with the bulls and the first bull and the ox bull and the she goats and the he goats, and you'd be like, what in the world is Pastor talking about? The new generation is going to require us to reinterpret the message of God's love, and every generation has had to do it. Every generation has had to expand the love of God. Watch this. It started with the Jews. They didn't want the Gentiles. Why they ain't like the Gentiles? Because they weren't circumcised. They had to get over that. Then they didn't want women. Had to open up and let the women in. Then they didn't want black people. They had to open up, let black people in the love circle. And then women were still oppressed. We had to open up. Now you got women preachers everywhere. We had to open up the love circle. Well, guess what? We're going to open up the love circle again with the LGBTQ community. What's LGBTQ? Lesbian. What's the next letter? LG, gay. B, bisexual. BT, transsexual. I, intersexual. A, asexual. You understand? Q means queer or questioning. And the church is going to die if we think we're going to conceal God's love to the people that just look like us. I'm just telling you. If you're uncomfortable where the church is headed, you might as well leave now. Because there's going to be more people coming. And guess what we're going to have to do? What's on your sheet? Let's read together. 1, 2, 3. A theological system is supposed to satisfy 2 basic needs: the statement of the truth of the Christian message and the interpretation of this truth for every new generation. It's okay to say the message of Jesus in a new way.